Chosen one, I need you to hear something before another second of this day passes. God leaned forward from his throne, looked at the move you just made, and said 3 words that changed everything. That was it. Not that was close. Not almost there. Not keep trying. That was it, the last key. The one that heaven had been waiting for. That you didn't even know how bad what you did was. The move wasn't big. As long as no one was around, it was an act of obedience. It was so heavy in the spiritual world that it shook the ground. I'm also going to give you an old word before this message ends. A Hebrew word that tells you why your move, no matter how small it seemed, felt like it had been going on for decades. Make room for it. When you carry something, I know what it is. I know how tired you felt all the way through to the point where you stopped calling it tired and started calling it normal. I remember the prayers that seemed to fade away before they reached the ceiling. In times when what God promised and what your life looked like were so far apart that you could hardly stand on either side of it. I know how close you came to giving up on everything. You didn't leave though. You did something. That move, the one you thought was small, the one you almost didn't make, and the one that cost you something no one else could see. That was the key God had been looking for. Right now, if you're hearing this and feel like your chest just got tighter for no reason, that's recognition. Your spirit knows things that your mind doesn't yet understand. Why did this message come to you today, at this exact time and day? Because God won't let you start your new season until you hear Him say it clearly. That was the move. Now the wait is over. If you felt like what was said was true, type "the key turned" in the comments section below. Say it out loud, not as a wish. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description, or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. You pressed play on this message, and something opened up. Your spirit already knows this. What I'm about to say will explain why the last few years felt the way they did, why some doors wouldn't open, no matter how hard you tried, why some people were taken out of your life in ways that seemed cruel at the time, and why the move you just made was the most important spiritual thing you have done in 10 years. So please stay with me until the end. What God is about to say to you through this message is not just information. It's activation. And you can only use it if you get it in the right order. First, let me tell you something that most people will never get. You've been having to carry a weight that doesn't belong to you. This is not a weight of sin or failure, but a weight of duty. And the difference between those three things is the difference between punishing someone and getting them ready. This pattern has been seen a lot of times. When the chosen one walks through fire, everyone around them says, "What's wrong with you?" But there is nothing wrong. Something is being forged, and it's not happening by chance. A lot of people, even spiritual ones, can't see the order because they are only looking at the surface. What's been going on in the background of your life for the last 3 to 5 years? Your spirit was growing, not your comfort or your situation. God was building you up so that you could carry what He was making. Because capacity growth always feels like breaking before it feels like building, it hurt a lot. Just think about what seeds do. It doesn't open slowly, it breaks. The shell that kept it safe is now what needs to be broken, in order for the life inside to come out. You would think that seed is dying, if you didn't know what was going on while you watched, but it is not dying. It's turning into what it was always meant to be. You had that happen to you. Everything was fine with you. You were being broken open, so that something better could come out. And the people who left during that time, because they thought you had changed, were right. Even though you had changed, they saw it as destruction while heaven saw it as building. I know that a certain memory is coming back to you right now. In the last 18 months, there was a time when you made a choice that cost you something, and couldn't explain why you did it. You knew right away. You moved even though everything around you told you to stay still, because something inside you told you to. That wasn't a leap of faith. That level of obedience is one that most people never reach, and God saw it not as one of many choices, but as the choice. The last one in a series of tests that most people fail, because they wait for the test to look like a test, but the real tests never show up. They show up in the form of normal events. Let me name something that has been going on in your life, that you have felt but never had words for. There seems to be something that pulls you back every time you get close to making progress. Not to the outside, to the inside. Something like a voice, a weight, or a sudden wave of doubt that shows up right before you start something new. You've been putting the blame on yourself. You've been telling yourself that you're scared, that you don't have faith, and that something is wrong with you. But that's not true. There is something going on that I call the action threshold, and once you understand it, years of confusion will go away in a flash. The action threshold is the line that you can't see between knowing what you need to do and actually doing it. Also, almost no one tells you this. That line doesn't have nothing on it. Most people think it is guarded by demons, but it's actually your own nervous system, which has a mechanism that was meant to protect you as a child, but is now stopping you from stepping into your divine assignment. Your brain learned when you were young that risk means danger. When you reached for something and got hurt, your nervous system learned a lesson and built a wall. It's a smart, invisible wall that goes off every time you get close to something that could change your life. Your body sees the change as a threat, even though your spirit sees it as an invitation. This makes you feel paralyzed, just like you did at the edge of every big breakthrough. It's not fear of failing, but fear of the unknown size of what's on the other side. You weren't weak when you tried to push through and failed. You were fighting a system that had been working without you knowing for decades, and doesn't know the difference between danger and fate. it fights against both of them the same way. Since the wall wasn't outside, the last 5 years felt like pushing against something that shouldn't have been there. It was in your brain, and no amount of prayer, willpower, or positive thinking can change a response in your nervous system that was set up before you were old enough to choose it. But this is where the big step forward starts. God told you that your last move was the key that would unlock everything. That move did something that years of planning couldn't do on its own. That was enough to get people to act, but not by force. There was no too much thought. You didn't wait until everything was just right. You did not ask 12 people to let you do something. You moved because the Spirit pulled you. And in that movement, you felt something old break open inside you. The chosen one who is hearing this needs to know that what happened was not only spiritual, but also neurological. Your nervous system had been blocking that new pathway in your brain for years. But when you obeyed, it opened up. And that path doesn't close again once it's open. It becomes the path you take for the rest of your life. If you just felt something shift in your body while you were hearing that, like if your shoulders dropped or your breathing changed, that's proof. Your body is reacting to a truth that your spirit already knows. Right now, type "I broke through" the line in the comments, because giving it a name seals it. It's not enough to just understand what the action threshold is. I need to go deeper. There is a second system at work, but it's not inside you. It's in the spiritual world around you. Not before you made your move, but after you did. Have you noticed that the opposition got stronger? The attacks got worse, there was more confusion, and people who had been quiet started speaking out. You started to think that maybe you made the wrong choice. That reaction doesn't show that you were wrong. It shows that you made the right choice. In the spiritual world, there is a system that I have seen always work in the lives of those who are chosen. It is what I call the momentum seal. So this is how the momentum seal works. When a chosen one does something that is in line with their divine assignment, heaven responds by sealing the choice, locking it in, and making it impossible to change in the spiritual world. The enemy knows this. The enemy knows that the season change can't be stopped once the seal is put in place. You can only attack during the short time between the move and the seal. That tiny space where the person who was chosen can still be persuaded to back down, to question, to run away. After your move, every attack was aimed at that window, not at your past or your character. It was at your choice. What God had already sealed was being tried to be opened by the enemy, but you didn't do it. The seal was made because you stood your ground. The chaos that followed your move wasn't the universe telling you that you got the signal wrong. The universe was responding to the fact that you got it right. God told you that was it, because you not only made the right choice, but you also kept that choice through the fire that came after. Because you moved and held on at the same time, a season began that had been planned for you since before you were born. I can't say for sure when things will change for you, but the pattern shows that when the momentum seal ends, things don't get better over time. It comes up out of nowhere. Things that should take months only take days to do. Forged in doors can open on their own without being touched. The people who thought you were dead will now be the first to see what God does next. Picked one. I need to take a moment to hold something out for you before we go any further. In a research lab a few years ago, something was found that explained something that most spiritually sensitive people have felt, but never been able to put into words. Not because it goes against what is holy, but because most of us aren't paying attention to it. A small group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York, who has studied the brain for more than 20 years, found something linked to what we've been talking about how the mind works. Something so basic that it has roots in a Nobel Prize, but it's used in such a simple way that it sounds almost fishy the first time you hear it. I'll tell you exactly what they found in the next part of this message. But put this question on hold for now. What if the fog you've been feeling, the weight on your mind, and the space between what your spirit knows and what your mind can access are all signs of something bigger? So what if that's not a sign of spiritual weakness? What if someone took something from you that prayer alone can't fix? Now, let me show you how your season is going to play out. This is because God doesn't just open a door, He lights the way behind it, and guides you through it perfectly. In the spiritual world, the move you made set off what I can only describe as a chain reaction. One act of obedience set off a chain of events that will affect every part of your life. Most of the chosen ones miss this, because they are looking for one big change, when God is planning many changes at the same time. You are about to reach a point in your finances, where the confusion about your money starts to clear up. It's not that you'll earn 10 times as much as you do now. It's that the fog that kept you from seeing opportunities and making smart financial decisions is going to lift. You will see paths that have always been there but can't be seen by a mind that is only partially working. Your relationships will change, but not because of a big fight. Instead, they will change because of a quiet change in your frequency that makes some people unable to stay, and others unable to look away. The biggest change will happen inside your head, where your peace and clarity come from. The fog will go away soon. The weight is not a reflection of who you are. Something inside you got messed up and is now getting fixed. After the last key is turned, there are 3 steps that happen. You have already finished the first one. The first step is the move, which is the act of obedience that breaks through the action threshold. This is what you did. You're past this phase. The second step is the settling. This is where you are now. The spiritual world around you is being rearranged by the things you set in motion when you moved. From the inside, it doesn't feel dramatic. There are times when it seems like nothing is going on. To me, it feels like the worst part. The next morning was the same Tuesday. After making the most important spiritual choice of your life. That doesn't prove that you got the signal wrong. That's proof of how big what you set in motion really is. There is a huge event going on. The building blocks of your new season are being put together in ways you can't see. You have to be patient, without giving up for the settling to happen. And the third phase is the arrival. It takes more than one moment to arrive. It's a cascade, a string of breakthroughs that happen so quickly that they feel like one long event. There is a deep peace that wakes you up because you forgot what it's like to live without the weight. Financial doors open, relationships become clear, physical health stabilizes, and creative ideas flow. Now I need to give you something useful. I want to show you a practice that ties together everything we've talked about and gives you something you can use right away. For the next 7 days, sit in silence for 3 minutes every morning, before you check your phone or talk to anyone else. Not to think about God or pray, but to listen. Put your hand on your chest and repeat one sentence while you listen. I was the one who moved. I was the one who stayed. Your nervous system is affected by that sentence in a certain way. What it does is remind the part of your brain that has been running the old defense program that you are not the same person who freezes at the threshold. You were the one who went over it. And each time you say that sentence, you strengthen the new pathway that your obedience made. Do something with me now. Take a moment to close your eyes. Feel the ground below you. Feel the weight of your body on the ground. Now take a look at something. You've been feeling tight in your chest, throat, or shoulders. You forgot about the tightness that's been there for a long time. Take a deep breath into that space. Take a slow breath. Let your breath out last longer than your breath in. As you let out a breath, picture that tightness melting away like salt in warm water. In peace. In every way. It's not your fault that you felt tight. It was what was left over from the last season. The old season is over. Watch out for what God is doing now. Tell God about it. Write in a journal. Say a prayer over it. Do not tell people who have not been through what you have been through about it for the next 30 days. Allow the base to set. Not because telling people about it would ruin it, but because the base is still wet. Let it heal alone first. If what I just said made you feel something, type, "I guard my season," in the comments right now. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Now I want to talk more about something that has been quietly changing your life in a way you might not have expected. In ancient Hebrew, there is a thought that has no clear English equivalent. The word is mode. It refers to a set time. It's not just any meeting. There is a divine intersection where what God planned and what you walked through meet at the same point in time. Life for most people is based on time. Every day after that. Linear, measurable, and predictable. But time doesn't move in a straight line for the chosen one. The chosen one lives in a time when years of planning come together in one moment that changes everything. Your move was a mode moment. That's not because the calendar said so. It was because every invisible thread that God had been weaving through your losses, delays, tears, and quiet obedience all came together at one point. And that point was your move. This is the reason it seems so unfair. A small action caused a huge spiritual reaction. Because the size of the action doesn't matter in mode time, the time is what matters. It could take years for a seed planted at a normal time to grow anything. Planting the same seed in the morning can yield a harvest in the evening. Because the ground was already ready. The rain was planned ahead of time. The only thing that was missing was the seed, which you were. Before I tell you what I promised about the research lab, I need to name the fourth idea. I have seen it work in the lives of all the chosen ones who made it from the formation season to the fulfillment season. This is what I call the divine confirmation loop. What this means is how the divine confirmation loop works. You move to show that you obey. God confirms the move with a sign, an event, or a clear thought that comes to you all of a sudden. The confirmation makes your faith stronger. The stronger faith leads to another action. That move is confirmed once more, and the loop speeds up. A lot of people never get into this loop because they never move. People wait for confirmation before moving. But God set things up so that confirmation comes after the move. Faith doesn't mean being sure that something will work before you try it. Faith is acting before the evidence shows up, and watching as the evidence forms itself around your actions. You're now in the divine confirmation loop. You found this message, which is part of the loop. Part of the loop are the feelings you're having right now. And the loop gets stronger as it goes on. Every revolution builds on the one before it, until the speed of change is so fast that it can only be explained by God. Things like this message almost never tell you. Even though everything you've heard is true, it will only work at a small level without what comes next. The spiritual building blocks are in place, your obedience set it off. But there is a physical part of your breakthrough that has been forgotten. It is true that the action threshold is real, but it is not spiritual. You were frozen at every breakthrough for 10 years. Because of your nervous system. That wasn't weak faith. That was because your two halves of the brain weren't working together to turn what you were spiritually knowing into movement. And there is a way to reach that translation. You now understand what was stopping you. The action threshold, the override of the nervous system, and the space between knowing spiritually and experiencing it in real life. What do you do with what you see now that you see it? That's the question. The clarity you just got is real. But it's like rain falling on concrete. If you don't have a receiver that's working at full capacity. It hits, but doesn't go through because it evaporates. You are the chosen one, because you have been honest for years, done the work inside yourself, and clearly heard the call, even when nothing else around you confirmed it. And today, what I'm going to talk about is just for that person. Someone. Roger Sperry won the Nobel Prize in 1981 for finding something about the brain that most people in spiritual communities have never heard of. He proved that the brain has two halves, or hemispheres, the left and the right. When the two halves work together, the brain is said to be whole brain activated. In this state, you can be creative, intuitive, solve problems, feel emotionally clear, and be spiritually open. All of them work at a level that most adults haven't felt since they were kids. 98% of kids naturally work in this synchronized state. Not even 1 in 1,000 adults keep it up. In today's world, the synchronization is broken down so that the two halves work almost independently. And the action threshold can't be met when they disconnect. Not because you don't believe, but because both hemispheres of your brain need to work together for spiritual knowledge and physical movement to happen. An American woman wrote about how she felt before she found what I'm about to share. She talked about making one change in her life that she had been putting off for 2 years. The fear before the move made it impossible to move. Just a few days after the work on synchronization started, something became clear. What seemed like an impossible barrier broke down. It felt like the next step, after what had been taking all of her time and energy. For a man from Texas, the move that freed him from years of spiritual paralysis was like taking a step before he could think himself out of it. He said that within 2 weeks, the fog that had been over all decisions for years would be gone. Afterwards, the divine confirmation loop he went into after his move sped up in a way he couldn't have imagined. That's because of the work that Dr. Daniel Barron and his team did for years. This is what a group of neuroscientists in New York, led by Dr. Daniel Barron, did for years. They used clinical neural sync technology for more than an hour. This is the kind of whole brain activation protocol that is only used in certain medical settings. It was then compressed and improved a lot, and it was turned into an 8-minute targeted audio sequence. 8 minutes a day, with headphones on and eyes closed. There you have it, the only physical requirement. The smart switch is what they call it. The Genius Switch isn't an app for meditation, or a sound that will make you feel a certain way, based on Dr. Roger Sperry's Nobel Prize-winning research. This is a specific sequence of sounds that were designed to connect the two hemispheres and bring back the normal state of brain activity that kids had when they were young. The speed of the divine confirmation loop you just entered is directly related to how clearly the mind that is receiving the confirmations can understand them. Once the receiver is fully charged, confirmations that looked like accidents will look like they were planned. The loop doesn't just keep going, it speeds up. Not everyone can use the Genius Switch. It is for the chosen one who knows that God not only made the promise, but also the mind that needs to follow it. The person who has been honest for years, done the work, heard the call clearly, and kept coming back to it, even when the evidence didn't support it. And who is ready to stop seeing the fog as a flaw in their character and start seeing it as something with a real address. When Dr. Barone's coworkers saw what the technology could do for the first time, they said it would be a great deal, even at $500. A neurofeedback machine that you use in person costs $7,000. Meeting with a specialist in person costs $300 an hour. But Dr. Barone didn't price the Genius Switch at $500, $200, or $100. He priced it at $49. Today, on this page in particular, an extra $10 was taken off. $39. You get 4 free bonuses when you spend $39 on it. A top-rated Calm app creator made this guided visualization about money, love, health, and happiness. A smart grocery shopping guide that saves you over $100 a month and lists 10 common foods that make you feel foggy. This is a classic manifestation text that is more than 100 years old, and is where most modern manifestation techniques got their start. It's worth a $20, but it's free. There is also a beautiful infographic of the 5 habits that will help you create the future you want. You can print it out and put it somewhere you can see it every day. You can get your money back in full, no questions asked. Listen 80 times. Every penny is returned if the Genius Switch doesn't work the way it has for over 18,000 people. There are no conditions or questions. One thing that needs to be named. If you look online for something that sounds like it, you will find tracks with names that are similar. The tracks were looked at by Dr. Barone and his team. Most of them didn't have any neural sync technology built in at all. They used the name because there isn't much that stops you from calling something that. How it works is what makes it different. And the mechanism is only in the thing that his team made. The only source that has been checked is the direct page. That's where the link below takes you. You can find the link in the description below, and in the pinned comment. If what was said speaks to you, it's only available where Dr. Barone and his team made it available. Before you decide, you can read everything on their page. It's easy to see every detail. The tool doesn't stand in for God. The tool doesn't take the place of obedience. It doesn't give up for you. It doesn't keep the move for you. You don't need any tools for what God is doing in you. But a tool that heals the receiver makes what God is doing land in the right place more often. And for the chosen one, who felt something move when the mind was talked about, that door is still open in the telling. It's only a small step, but small steps taken from a clear head have changed whole seasons. What comes next is now part of something bigger. Now, chosen one, I want to take you to a place that goes beyond understanding. I want to show you what your life will be like when everything we've talked about today becomes real. If you can, close your eyes and picture this. It will be 6 months from now. You get up early in the morning not because you're worried, but because you're ready. There's a change in your body. First thing you notice is that there is no longer the familiar knot in your stomach that used to be there every morning, annoying you. It's not there. What you feel instead is a calm clarity that comes from knowing you are exactly where you should be. You slowly stand up. It's the same room, but the way you see it is different. The light coming in through the window is the same, but you are not the same person who sees it. The fog is gone, not just less thick. Now there is a sharpness of thought that makes you remember who you were as a child, when the world was full of color, and every moment held potential. There is nothing to grab or scroll through, and there is nothing empty about the silence. It's full of a presence that you used to have to work hard to feel, but can't get away from now. The first thing that comes to mind is not fear, worry, or making plans. The question is so soft that it hardly makes a sound. What am I being asked to do today? That person is real, not in a fantasy world or a different universe. That person is the past you that lives on the other side of what God is finishing now. Now open your eyes and remember that picture. It's not a dream, it's a sneak peek. People whose future has already been written are the only ones who get sneak peeks. There is no doubt or fear that stands in the way of your calling. There is only delay that looks like wisdom. Voice, wait a little longer. Thought, you are not ready yet. But God said the time is now. God told you that the last move you made was the key. Why are you waiting if God isn't? Every week that the mind only works at a partial level is another week that the provision God set up moves through someone who can't handle the full weight of what is being sent. You should give what's coming to you your whole self. Not as a hope, but as a certainty. Type, "My season is now," in the comments below. That person has earned the right to say it because they moved, held, and refused to back down. Dear chosen one, we have reached the point I have been building up to since the beginning of this message. Now I'm going to talk about your life, and what I say is not a wish. If you believe this, it comes from the authority of the God who saw your move and said, "That was it. I am aware of what God is doing right now and don't rush it." It wasn't by chance that your journey led you here. Every detail was written. Every delay was planned. I let go of all the lies that were told about you by people who didn't have the right to define you. I take off all the labels that a season that is no longer yours put on you. I let go of the weight that built up during the years of formation. In the time between your prayers and their answers, there was silence. That's when doubt crept in. That fear that made your body fight. The thing your spirit wanted to do is gone. I let the fog go. I break the paralysis. I let go of everything and say it has no right to come back. It wasn't you who almost gave up. It was you who didn't. You're not the one who has to wait anymore. You were the one who moved. You are not the person the enemy beat. The enemy couldn't stop you. I'm announcing that the season of waiting is over, and the season of getting there has begun. No one or anything in heaven or earth has the power to shut the door now that the key has been turned. Let it be known that your mind is being fully restored, that the fog is lifting, that clarity is coming, and that every promise that was planted in the ground of your obedience is about to come to the surface. I declare over your money that provision is being rerouted to meet you, where your faith takes you. I declare that alignment is taking the place of performance in your relationships. I swear over your health that healing is not a figure of speech. It is already a fact of life that can be measured in terms of the brain and the body. I declare that you are the chosen one. This is not an accident or a wishful thought, it is God's deliberate, specific, and unchangeable choice. God sees everything and still chose you. If this claim hit you and you believe it to be true, write, "I am the one who moved," in the comments section below. That should be the last seal for today. That will show that you didn't think twice when God asked you to. You moved, and that was enough. Completed, sealed, and can't be undone. You were meant to receive this message at this very moment. If it did, please click the like button so that it can reach someone else who is currently at their own threshold. Someone who is about to give up might see this message because of your one press. Also, if you thought of a person while you were listening, someone you know who has been carrying a weight they can't name, who has been moving in silence and wondering if God saw them, send them this message. There's no need to explain it. You don't need to say anything about the link, because it's the right word at the right time. It works by itself. This is the first time you've heard a message like this. If you want to keep walking in this frequency, I invite you to join the thousands of other chosen ones who have come here not for fun, but to be activated. The key was turned, the door is open. Walk through it, and may the God who watched you and said, "That's it," continue to confirm, seal, and build what no one else could build, or an enemy could destroy. It's done. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary, where we discuss the Word daily, and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit Out Community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.